What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys. Y'all know the routine, man. I got some college football information today. Well, I'm not going to say that. Let me back up. I don't have no information, but I am going to talk about a major feature that I feel would add so much depth to the game that, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, man. It's just going to add a lot of depth to the game. So if you are new to the channel, never been here before, you been here and you ain't subscribed. Guys, we are on track to get that silver play button, but I can't do that without y'all. So all I'm asking is to click that simple subscribe button. Don't be a Poindexter. Get out of the freaking portal and become a 5-star athlete. You dig me? So let's get into this. I want to talk about this feature that I would love to see in the game. And I'm going to talk about other features as well in later days. But this one here, guys, focuses purely on the offseason. And that is spring football. Right now, across the country, college teams are going through their spring football preparation. Okay? And if you stick with this, you'll understand. And you'll say, yeah, I think that would be amazing to put in the game. There's been games in the past, like in Madden, where you could play the Senior Bowl. I don't think we've ever had the spring game in a college football game. But with the way that recruiting is, with the way the transfer portal is, and then remember I talked about in the older video, like last week or the week before, where I feel like they should even go a step further in recruiting and have early enrollees. We have that now in college football. You have kids that enroll in the spring and they even play in the spring game. If you bring all of those elements together, the offseason for college football 26 would be top tier, because currently the offseason literally consists of recruiting. That's it. The transfer portal, trying to sign those guys that are in the transfer portal. Okay. But there's no spring game. There's no spring practices or spring training. And I'm not saying to have actual where you actually have to go through the spring practices, but at least have, the spring training, or maybe have it to where you could focus on certain players and put them through drills through a span of 4 weeks to help boost stats and stuff like that. Because the game does do training. It simulates it. But, can we bring it out more to the forefront to where I think that'd be a good idea. You pick so many players and you go through this spring practice type of scenario where I can perform the same drills that we have in Road to Glory with particular players or positions of players that I want to improve their stats and stuff, and give them little stat boosts and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And then going along the lines with the players that enroll early, hey, maybe this is a little boost to where they enrolled early so you don't know their dev trait or something to that effect. And if you utilize them in your spring practices and in the spring game, you can unlock those developmental traits and things of that nature, as well as give them an attribute bonus. Because understand this, and this is true. When those players enroll early, they get a leg up on the other recruits that come over the summer. Why? Because they're already learning the playbook. They're already getting acclimated to an extent to the college game. Not to say that they're going to be better than guys that come over the summer and stuff like that, but they do get a leg up. I've played college football at the Division II level. We didn't have guys enroll in the spring, but you did have, guess what? Transfers that came in the spring. So in JUCO, we would have JUCO players come in the spring. You would have other players transferring from other schools that came in the spring. And, and then you have your recruiting class players that come during summer camp. Those guys that came during the spring, they basically by summer camp, they already felt like a part of the team because they went through spring. They learned a good foundation of the plays and things of that nature. So they were already a step ahead of other incoming freshmen or other transfers that came in the summertime. So I think implementing that in the game would be monumental to offseason, and it would add more depth to recruiting. Whereas, hey, maybe I can get this. Hey, this 5-star recruit is going to come to is going to enroll early in the spring. And so that creates excitement because everybody knows we've watched those 5-star recruits, 4-star recruits that leave early in the spring. And then, oh my gosh, we get to see them in the spring game. Arch Manning being one. If I'm not mistaken, I think Arch signed in the spring because he played in the spring a little bit. Jalen Hale out of this area, out of Longview, was supposed to play in the spring game. I think he ended up getting hurt or whatever. But there's always that top recruit that signs in the spring or that is able to graduate early and go in the spring to his college and be able to play in the spring game. And people literally tune into these spring games now more than ever, and even more so to see these top 5-star recruits like a Terry Bussey get on the field a little bit early and kind of see what they got cooking before the season starts. You don't get that if those guys enroll in the summer. You won't see those true freshmen in the summertime or those transfers that enroll during the summer until the season starts. So it adds more flair, it adds more depth, it adds more excitement over the spring game. And they are broadcasting these spring games like crazy, guys. Literally in the news, Texas Tech is trying to do a inter squad scrimmage, or not inter squad. They're trying to do a game, a preseason game or a scrimmage, more or less. Instead of the traditional spring game, they're trying to do a spring game against another opponent, the Colorado Buffaloes, and do it in AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Do you know the magnitude of that type of game where, yeah, it's a spring game? And I know people are saying on the surface where, oh, well, what if somebody gets injured or something? You can get injured in a regular spring game. High school has scrimmages. Middle school has scrimmages. The NFL, essentially, NFL does it. They in the preseason, you have your preseason games, but during summer camp, these teams will go and do a quote unquote little scrimmage or a practice with another team. The only level of football that for the most part don't do it. I don't know if they do it at the D3 level or whatever. Division II, we didn't have scrimmages. You had games and there wasn't a preseason. There was just games. You know what I'm saying? You have your non-conference games in a sense. I guess you could look at that as preseason in a way, but you got non-season or non-conference games sprinkled throughout the year in big time D1. Now, D2, that wasn't the case. Once you was in conference play, you was in conference play. But I think that it would be a super amazing opportunity if, say, Texas Tech and Colorado did say, yeah, hey, let's make this happen. For our spring game, we're going to do against another team. That would literally be the start of a college football preseason, if you will, or a scrimmage. But it goes to show just how magnificent, just how big a deal the spring games are in colleges. And then the broadcast aspect of it, it is extremely popular. And guess what? It ain't nothing new. College has always had spring games. Like, that's always been a thing. But here recently, and I say recently within the past 10 years or so, something to that effect, is when these stations, ESPN, ABC, the Fox Sports Nets, and then the conference television shows like the SEC Network and the Longhorn Network, stuff like that, have started to broadcast these spring games. Millions of people are going to be tuning in to watch these spring games, especially with the Longhorns, because, boy, Arch Manning taking over the helm. People are going to be excited to see that. It was big news surrounding Colorado, where their spring game literally was sold out in the stadium Deion's first year on campus. Like, that was unheard of. It set spring game records across the nation, and other teams follow suit the same way. Guys, you have to, I don't see how you make college football 26 and don't add spring games into the game. You may not have spring practice. You might not have early enrollees, but I don't see college football. I'll put it like this, if college football 26 comes out and there's no spring game in the offseason, big fail. Not for the game itself, but just for the fact of, hey, that's a huge missed opportunity, dude. Because I think a lot of us would love to play a spring game in a college football game and be able to, play with our team before, and then, hey, you're moving players around in different positions because colleges do that. They give you the option in the game now to sort of change positions for all your players. Wouldn't it be cool to, hey, let me take a look at this guy at wide receiver, put him in the spring game wide receiver. Oh man, he's pretty dang good. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you can even have it to where a player who, if I just regularly move him on the depth chart, to say from corner to wide receiver, he might not be very good, but then I put him in the spring game and it unlocks like, hey, this is a gem. This is a guy that if you looked at it on paper, he wouldn't be good at this position, but you find out by playing him that he actually is good. Something to that effect, guys. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comment section down below. Spring game needs to be a thing. We got to make that happen. That needs to happen in college football 26. Like I said, early enrollees in the spring, have some sort of spring training actually pushed to the forefront rather than just label it training, and then put a spring game in the game. Because you could even do it. Like if Colorado and Texas Tech say, hey, this is going to 100% happen, it ain't nothing for college football EA Sports to actually put that in the game to where you're able to do a spring game against another team or something to that effect. Maybe they do it as an update, or other teams follow suit and then they do it in later games, because that's going to be a big money maker as well for these schools. So all in all, put the spring game in college football 26. I think it is a phenomenal opportunity. Spring games are extremely, extremely popular, and that's going to add some depth to the offseason and make it less of a mundane kind of grind outside of recruiting. So, like I said, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, guys. Help me hit 100,000 subscribers. Let me know what y'all think about that down in the comment section down below. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.